Hello everyone, in our today's video we're gonna create this amazing movie streaming website using Nextjs and so many other coolest technology. As you see, that will be our homepage with a fabulous header, then a movie carousel, and after that we're gonna have a 4 section which indicating that now playing, upcoming movie, top rated and the popular movies, and below we have a nice looking footer. And by the way, this entire website is fully responsive. We are using the Tailwind CSS to create this amazing design. So let's see what kind of things we're gonna have within it. First, look at the header. In this header we're gonna have a logo by which if we click it will always take us to the home page. Then we have the option of genre. Now what it will do, it's gonna showcase all the genre available. If I click in the animation, it will take us to the pages with the genre with the particular ID and the genre title. Here you can see all the animated movie available. As you see, you can go through that particular movie and that's it. So all the movies are available here. Let's click, and again if you choose a separate genre, not the animation, let's go with the action. As you see, the title is changed and the movie view also change. Now let's go back here. Also we can use the search page. If I click on the Do-and-To and just hit enter, as you see it's coming with the Do-and-To search result. If we click in another movie, suppose the race, hit enter. So as you see, the race movie is just getting loaded, and also it's adapting with that light and dark mode. As you see, the both mode is actually supporting on that. If we go back to our home page, what will happen if we click a particular movie? But beforehand, you see that very simple slick slider. As you see how sliding is very perfectly and giving a boost of animation. And by the way, this one actually I got influenced by Sunny Sanga's video, which he made a very adaptably very perfectly using that AI and other things. But what I try to train to make is to create a simple way so that you can easily combine it and make it as your own and publish in your GitHub repo or showcase that without combining with that lots of other things. Now here, if I click any of the single movie, what is gonna happen? If I click, as you see, it's taking me to that movie screen, and where actually I render the ID. You can also keep the name, it depends on your choice. Here you see we have a little bit of movie title here, and also with that overview what kind of the text it can be pouring on here. Then we have that IMDb rating and also the bolts and the release date also assembling here. Then we have that genres and then the tagline and status. Is it released or not? If it's not released, you're gonna see as a red flag over here. Otherwise it will always come with that green flag. Now we cannot get that movie data, movie video, because we need to pay for that. But actually what we can do, we have that data from the YouTube that we can showcase any of the movie. They have 4 or 6 trailer videos and other videos, so we can render it here so people can see. Now they can easily play it here to watch that about that movie screen. As you see, it's just coming up from that YouTube and it's free, so it's just rendering here. As you see, after showcasing the trailer, we have that popular movies data. So here also we render all the popular movies available here. Now you can see one more thing is there. Here we have the view more button. What is gonna happen if anyone click on that view link button? Let's click here. When you click in view more, you can see from which title is coming. We came from the upcoming movie and the results is showcasing here. Okay, and also you can push the you can use the pagination if you want. It's up to you. Okay, doesn't matter, you can implement that. I'm gonna keep all the scenario here. If you want to make it more dynamic, you can do it as your own. And this all the screen, you see, if I click in the about, it will give me 404 because I didn't create that page. So it depends on you. You can add more page, you can add more functionality, but you see the design is here. And when it's coming through in that smaller screen, you see how sweet it is. You see, it's very cool. All the design is perfect, you can use it. And don't worry about that, all the code I'm gonna share it with you and you can do it in a more perfect way. And what kind of tech we're gonna cover according to complete on this website? First of all, we're gonna use that Nextjs. by which actually you're gonna prepare on that. Then we will use that TMDB like API server to get all the data, because all the data is fetched from that server. Okay, nothing is actually except I think, oh no, not that one also, because all the data is coming from some of the any of the API. It's no static data is available. So the movie data, we're gonna fetch it from here, and I'm gonna show you how you can do that. Then we'll use that Shadcn UI to create that beautiful search genre button, and also that tab and other parameter. Then we're gonna have that Tailwind CSS to create this amazing design with it, and then we're gonna create also that React hook from to get that search data. We're gonna use that Ambia Carousel, which is Ambla Carousel, which is actually a pretty good library to go with, and it's a very clean to build application with that. Then we as the same procedure of that. So that's it. And after finishing that, we're gonna deploy it in the Vercel, because as you are seeing, it's the deployed version. I'm not running it from my local machine, it's just you are viewing it from the deployed one. So today also we're gonna go through with that, so you're gonna have a very good understanding on it. So no further ado, let's start building that application. And what I'm gonna do, except this tab, I'm gonna close all other tab, and I have my build folder available here. So what I'm gonna do, remove my other things, and here I'm gonna take another terminal. Now you may use that npm, or you may use the pnpm or any other platform. Today I'm gonna use the yarn. Okay, to go with the yarn, or actually not yarn also, today I'll go with the pnpm. And how actually you're gonna have that pnpm, you can just go with that pnpm download, and from here you can easily install pnpm in your local machine. So just run that command if you're using that Windows, and if you're using the any other platform, it will give you the option. Just configure that, and after configuring, if you successfully install that pnpm, you just need to run with that pnpm version, and you need to have that version in your local machine, otherwise it will not work. So today I'm gonna use that pnpm. So pnpm create next app, and I'm gonna put that movie studio YT. Okay, so it will not coming with that. I believe it will be just that create, and you need to put an space mark, so that will be the command with that pnpm create next app movie studio. No need to put the latest, it will grab the latest by default. So now after using the pnpm, it's the similar process, but what's the benefit using the pnpm? So I will not have much more node modules data, which actually not recommended, not needed. And we will use the TypeScript ESLint. Okay, we will use the Tailwind CSS, and with the Nextjs is already configured, so no need to touch any other parameter. Also source directory, of course, then the app router and other default behavior. So let's just give a little bit of time to install all the dependencies and run our application. Okay, application is created. If we put ls, you see our movies studio YT is available. Let's go inside of that cd movies studio YT. And by the way, if you just go back your folder, I think I misspelled the name. If you go back to the folder, you can see the movie studio here. You can just go here, and then you can with from that show more option, then you can go back here. You can open that here just simply, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna go inside that, so it will be movie studio YT. Then I'm gonna open I think I misspelled again. Okay, it will be cd. Okay, then what I will do, I will just open inside my code editor. Okay, it's already opened. Now you may see why actually I use the pnpm. If you just open that node modules, you see there's only the minimal dependencies is available here, because all other dependencies pnpm stores centrally, so it will note my application store, it will be safe. And why actually is happening here, there's a simple application which I created using npx. As you see, that's the initial rendering and how much data, how much package actually is installed in my root directory, and for which actually space managing is a very much pain if you're using that npm. So with the pnpm is a store saving in your application. So it depends on you, you may follow with any other platform, but feel free to configure it beforehand, otherwise you'll be in trouble. So the first thing first, as I already created my application, so what we need to do, we need to run that one. Now if you're using npm, you need to use that npm run dev. If you are using yarn dev, so I'm using the pnpm, just I'll go with that pnpm dev. That's the same thing it gonna do. And alongside with not having that like package log.json, you have that pnpm log.yaml file. So here all the dependencies you can see, and this the package, simple package which actually we used. And also we're gonna open that localhost 3000 while it's loading our application. For the first instances it may take a longer time, don't worry about that. Next session it will be just simple and it will be fast soon enough. So I think it's already round. You see, that's the default page. So we didn't create that page, but from where it's coming is getting by Nextjs. So if you go in the source folder, in that app folder, you can see we have the favicon global css layout page. So whatever the parameter, whatever the code you are viewing right now, the output you are viewing right now here is coming from this file. So what I'm gonna do, I don't want those things, okay? I want a clean file. So I will create another tag with the main and a p tag. So it will be that movie studio for YouTube. Let's hit the save, and also I'm gonna remove that images portion. As you see, that movie studio for YouTube is available here, but I didn't use that background color also. From where it's coming, if we go in the layout, you see that's the parameter, not the layout, in the global css, that's the parameter for the tailwind css, but that other things is coming by default with the setup, so I don't want that. Let's remove and save. As you see, now my application is clean, so it's good to go. So first thing first, let's see how actually we're gonna build things up. First, you see that's the header, it gonna go first, then we're gonna create that carousel banner, then we're gonna have all other movies parameter also after, then the footer, and after finishing all of this we're gonna have our other parameter. So let's go back here. First we're gonna create a separate component, but before going to create the component, I want to configure the Shadcn. Okay, so let's go to their website. So in the Shadcn UI, let's put in the get started, and here for the installation process we will choose that Nextjs. And while you are preferring the Nextjs, if you want to copy, you see there is an option for pnpm and npm, so we'll go with the pnpm. Let's copy that, and here in my code editor, let's take another git bash terminal. I'll make it bigger so you can see that. Let's enter, and you see it's installing. And would you like to use source directory? Yes, I want to like, and yeah, app router. I think I make the mistake. It should not be that command because that's creating a new project which actually we have been created, but we need to install that one, so we will just keep in it. So let's get the pnpm, now run again, and now what it gonna do, it gonna install that Shadcn UI in our project library, and it will configure its data alongside. So now it's asking me what actually I want. I want to use the default or New York. That's for I want to go with the style of default, and I will go with that slit default one, no problem. And would you like to use the css variable for colors and css variables? Okay, yes, let's see what actually okay, that should not be. I don't want to use the css variable for the colors, but anyway, as we configure, okay, I will not go with that because I don't want that variable color. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove that layer. That was my bad. We should not use that. So I will run that command again. Let's see what actually is giving me. I think it will not create any problem. Did you install? No, it didn't install yet, so it should not create any issues. So we will go that basic configuration again. Okay, now we're gonna refactor again, default slit, and I will select no. Okay, now it's good to go. So if you're having any issues, like if you made a mistake, you need to go through it, you need to overcome that one. You may be wrong. Okay, when you are coding, doesn't matter if you should be always right, and you can learn so many things from others. So beforehand it was asking so many questions to creating the UI and other parameter, but nowadays it's not asking. You see, it created component, it created the library, it's also having that utils and viewmore, CLSX is creating all other things, and I think it's installed also. So that's the good things. Now it's not asking so many questions about it. Now how actually we're gonna use that? So if we go back to one installation, like if we want to install a badge, avatar, alert, let's go to use the button. That's the simple way to use. Now how actually I can use the button? And if I go with the CLI, again using the pnpm, so okay, now it gonna install. It actually not install any package for the button, it gonna write. You see, it's actually using the DLSX, so it's getting that permission from you. And also if you're using that for other parameter, as you say npx, so it gonna have that read and write permission in your file, so it gonna create that file for you. So in the components, you're gonna see it gonna create so many files right now. Okay, as you see in the component, in the UI, we have that button. Okay, so that's also that Radix UI, which actually it didn't install. So what we're gonna do, we want to install that one because its slot is using here. So I will go with that pnpm. Sorry, it should be, we need to create that, make that add also. Okay, it's gonna install the Redis UI slot. So we're gonna having button here. So how actually we're gonna use that button? To use that button, let's first in the component layout, because it's created the UI. So here we're gonna create another file which call that header.tsx. Now how actually we're gonna create? There's a simple snippet RAFCE, and if you want to use that, you need to install that one ES7 snippet, which actually that React Native snippet, and it's very simple to use it. The snippet you need to use, and also you need to use like install one more extension, which is the Tailwind CSS IntelliSense, which actually giving you so many Tailwind configuration. As you see, once I'm gonna type, it gonna give us the pop-up. So that's the things to create, you need to have that. Okay, I think I need to reload my window just to type a script to be satisfied that I installed. Okay, everything is good to go. So now how actually we're gonna have that things? So you see, that's the way we can create the header with RAFCE. But if you don't want to create like that way, there is a simple way, because in our React application everything is as a function we are using. So we need to just, I will create an arrow function. You can use the other function, doesn't matter, it will work the same parameter, but arrow is the little bit the new approach, and I like that one. So let's go with that const header. We will just create that arrow function, and we're gonna return that parameter. I'm gonna return a div and a p tag which will return that header. So now we are having that function, but still we cannot use it in our application because we need to export that one. And by the way, remember to keep that name as the capital, and also the function name should be as capital. And we're gonna make that export default, and it will be header. Now for our header and footer, we want to see it like if you see back our application, that header and that footer, it will be all over our application. In all pages we're gonna see that. And by the way, did you look that slick animation is happening at the bottom, like the brag drop? You see the background of that header is just getting a blur effect. We're gonna create that. It's very cool to do it. So now for our header, because we want to see it in all the pages, so we're gonna inject in the layout. And why actually we are going to the layout? Just see, in every application there is an HTML file. We are rendering an HTML file, right, which actually DOM is manipulating or maintaining. So in our application we have that body in the layout. That's a single body we are maintaining. That's why we don't have any refresh in our React application. If we are not manually refreshing, anytime we save or do anything, it will not take the refreshing, right? So as you see inside the body, that's the children of all the pages is rendering. If I want to put a thing which actually going to be applicable in all the pages, we need to just adopt it here. So I'll import it header here. If I click save, as you see, our header is appearing. So first thing first, our header, we're gonna have that button like the logo, and then in the right side we're gonna have that other parameter. So let's go back to the header, and here we're gonna comment out two things. So first thing, it's gonna create the logo, and then it's gonna create that other parameter. So let's put that others. So for the logo, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create our logo, but before creating logo, I'm gonna just create the background things. So put a class name with going to be full, and we're gonna put that like this one, it will be a flex parameter. So flex item center, justify it going to be between, and I'm gonna give a padding of 5. And after that, we're gonna also do that, which going to be bj, and I want to get some colors. So let's go to the tailwind config.js. So here I'm gonna get some of the colors which actually I'm gonna use, but you're gonna see so many colors actually appearing from that Shadcn UI, and later on also you're gonna create all other colors. But now I will use only one parameter, which going to be the main color. So what will be the main color? The main color, it will be 1212. So that's the main color I'm gonna use for this application. And if we go back to here, so it will be bj, why is not giving us that? Bj main color. What's wrong with that? Oh, sorry, I need to put inside that color variable, that's why. So did color variables appearing? No. Actually, for right now, I will do it later, because we will add so many colors. So we're gonna put that variable later, 121212. For right now, it will save the purpose. Okay, so we're gonna keep that one here. And also, what actually we can do is that for the text purposes, well, actually that one also we can eradicate later on, but right now we're gonna put our logo. So it will be that image tag from that next image. Don't forget to import that one. And in the source parameter, I'm gonna put an URL, which actually going to be that URL where my logo is I hosted. So that will be the logo. And don't worry, all that details, whatever the logo or other parameter I'm gonna use, which having the link, it will be available in the description below, so don't worry about that. So now to adopt that one, that will be my source for the image, and alternative tag, it will be that logo. And also for the width, I'm gonna give you 120, because you need to, whenever you are putting an outside source, an outside HTTPS format, you need to give that width and height, otherwise it will start crying. And height, I'm gonna give 100, and also I'm gonna set that priority which going to be true. And why I'm doing that, because once you set the priority as true, it is going to accept that, because it's gonna render very fast, and it will not, like, it will always render it by server side. So now what's happening, if we see the error, you see invalid source pop. So we need to configure that one. So the hostname i.ibb.co we need to configure that in our next config file. If you open that file here, you can see at the bottom layer, in the parent layer, the next config.mgs. So here we need to configure from which domain our image is coming, because it's what actually Nextjs is going to do is that you can see so many other videos, or you can read the Nextjs documentation. Nextjs is fetching image before rendering that our application. So you need to know from which domain actually it's gonna fetch our image, and to outline that one, you need to go with that images flag. And after that images flag, I will make that remote image pattern, and we can have multiple domain, and every domain we're gonna wrap up with an object. And the protocol, the first one, it's going to be that protocol of HTTPS, and we're gonna put that host name. And what's the host name here today? That's the host name i.ibb.co, where actually I'm hosting my image. So the best practice is you need to just close the terminal, then start again. As you see, it's starting, so it's taking a restarting by default nowadays. So I'll just make a reload. So if your browser is getting stuck, you better stop that one and then run again. As you see, it's compiling and compiled. Now you see our image is available here. So now we're gonna start modifying that image. So close that, and by the way, I'm gonna use another, I'm gonna use some of the other parameter. So what I'm gonna do beforehand, I'm gonna just popping up my other parameter, which is one is for that post image.cc and image tmdb.org. so that's two parameter also I'm gonna use. Actually that one I'm not gonna use, so I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna use this two. Okay, for that one tmdb, when I'm gonna fetch the image, that will be used also. Okay, so now for the header, I'm gonna also put some class name, and that class name is going to be cursor pointer, and also width going to be 40, and height I will put that as auto. Okay, hit save, and now this image is gonna be wrapped through a link because it will always take us to the home page. So I'll just put that link and also import it from that next link, and that link going to give us an href, which going to be bring back us home. Okay, so that's cool. So now after happening that, we have that link parameter. Now for the others, I'm gonna use a div. So in the div, it's going to be one for that genre, and after the genre, it's going to be another two parameter, one for that our search, and another for our theme toggler. So these three parameter is going to be embedded here, as you see, 1 2 3. And let's go to the layout, and I'm gonna just close, rename that one, so it will be our movie studio, movie streaming studio. Okay, movie streaming studio, as you see. Okay, it should be changed. Okay, streaming studio, and also an application for your favorites movie or movies. Okay, so now, okay, so I think it should be appealing perfectly with 120, and height we give it on that, so it should be, or we want to give it more. I think it's match. Yeah, it's match. So now what we're gonna do for that genre, we need to create another components, which actually is going to have that genre dropdown.tsx rafce. So that genre dropdown will be responsible to get that genre here. So if we just make that genre dropdown, and it should be appearing somewhere here, but we cannot see it right now because we need to make it looks better. So what we gonna do, we're gonna put a class name here for that genre. Okay, actually it's appearing here. If we just put a class name and make that text of white, you're gonna see that it's appearing here. You see, yeah, that genre is available here. But for other genre, what actually we're gonna do is to create a drop down, and remember in the Shadcn we have that drop down available. So if we go back to here, and if we just make that drop down, where actually is that, let's go to that. Okay, drop down menu. So that's the one actually we're gonna use. As you see, that's the drop down menu we will use. So let's go again, install that, click that pnpm version, and we're gonna install this one first. So now after installing, what actually we need to do, we need to create that formality so we can use. So to use that, we need to get so many other things, which actually we're gonna import here. So we need to import that drop down menu, and drop down that menu content, drop down menu item, menu level, and menu separator, and that drop down menu trigger. So that's the things we're gonna use. So first I'm gonna remove everything and I'm gonna use that drop down menu, and inside that drop down menu I'm gonna make that drop down menu trigger. We're actually gonna call the menu once we click on that. So in the menu trigger we're gonna put that genre. So in the genre we're gonna make that one icon, and by default if you go back to the package, and in the package you're gonna see that Lucid React. So you can just copy that, or you can write here and you can search what actually that one. That's a pretty much icon library where actually you can see so many icons available. Okay, what is Lucid and what is the icon? If we click on the icons, you can see so many icons. We can use that library, that Shadcn using that library, so it installed by default. So now we can also get the icon from there, and we will use that chevron down icon. So let's go here and we're gonna make that chevron down. You see it's already imported from Lucid React. Now if it's not auto importing, don't forget to import that, because if you're not importing the code it will break and maybe you're gonna have problem finding actually why it's not working. So if we save that, let's go back here. I think it's a reloading issue. Yeah, you see the genre is appearing. If we click, nothing gonna appear right now because we didn't set anything yet. And how actually we gonna do it to make the set? Let's put that here, that the class name, we're gonna make that text of white to visualize that one, and we're gonna make a flex item center, and the text it will be small. Font we're gonna put it as medium. As you see, that's coming up. And for the chevron icon we're gonna put that class name and we're gonna make it margin left of 1, and also for the size we're gonna give a size of 20. Okay, cool. So now that's the drop down trigger. Once we click, the drop down menu will appear. But what is gonna be in that menu? If we go back here, so now what we will do, we will make that drop down, it will be the menu content. So let's click on that menu content, and here first we're gonna make that drop down menu separator. Okay, and before the menu separator we're gonna make put a label which going to be drop down menu label, and that label it's gonna make that select a genre. Okay, if we click, it's drop, you see the select a genre. So the menu list it will appear here. As you may see, the menu list it gonna appear here. So we're gonna set that one up. First we're gonna create that menu parameter. So now in here actually we can create that list. So first, now I will just create a demo list, like if const genre array, like in the array I'm gonna put that like, okay, need to put an equal sign, it will be id 101 and that title action, and I'm gonna just copy that. I'm gonna just keep 1 or 2. Later on we're gonna get the actual data, then you're gonna see how actually it's working. So I'll put 2, and that one it will be animation, just to keep that how actually that thing's going to work. So now after the separator, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that genre array dot map, and inside that map I'm gonna take that item and I'm gonna return that item from that parameter. What I'm gonna return that drop down which will be the item for sure, yeah, drop down menu item, not yeah, drop down menu item, and that menu item it gonna render within a link because we're gonna take a separate screen by clicking on that. And here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that item dot title, or actually we can keep it as name because in that main parameter it will be coming as a name, so the name and also coming as the name. Now here we're gonna make that as a name, and here the href parameter it's going to be that item dot name, and also put a key, and that key I believe it will be here in the top, and the key should be item dot id. If we hit the save. Let's see what actually happening. You see, we have our menu and it's showing 2-3 things. Now what actually is gonna happen if we click on the action? You see, it's gonna take us to that action. You see, that's actually happening here. If we click on the genre, it's taking up here with that particular ID. That's the things we're gonna create. For right now, I'm gonna keep it like that. Or actually, what actually we can do, we can create the things. Like if we click on that href parameter, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put that backtick parameter, backtick, and then it's going to be genre. Then it will be the first parameter, it will be genre.id, and then after that ID, it's going to be that the genre it equal to, it going to be that it will be that genre.name. And don't worry, we need to put that the first is not to be the genre, it will be the item we are keeping. So item.id and item.name. So now if we click here, as you see, if we go back here and if we click on the genre, click on that action, you see the ID and the genre name is equal to action. But we don't have any page right now, so we need to create that page. And how actually we're gonna create? Now if you want to create a page or create a screen in the Nextjs application, what you need to do, you see that app directory here it is to just create a folder, and the folder name is going to be your directory name. So like if we create that folder of the genre, that genre the first, and then it's going to be take that parameter of ID. Okay, so now in that ID I'm gonna create a page.tsx rafce, so it will be genre page. Okay, so now if we go back there in my application and go back home and create again action, you see the genre page is available. So now we can actually modify that one. So we're gonna come back here, don't worry. First thing first, we're gonna set up the other parameters. So our genre portion is, for time being, it's just settled. So after that genre, we have that search parameter. Okay, so for the search parameter, again we need to create another component here. So it will be another file which going to be search input.tsx rafce, and that search input we need to import here, which going to be search input. And if you come back here, you see search input is available, but it's squashing together. So what I'm gonna do, after putting that, make a flex and space x, so the gap it will be 2 and item should be center. If we hit save and go back to our application, you see that looks perfect. So in our search input, what actually we're gonna have, first thing first, we're gonna use that from control parameter. If we go back to in the Shadcn, and if you go back here, you see that from, we're gonna use that from, and there is a lot more things from the from you can use. So for our application, what is mandatory, we're gonna implement that. So first thing first, that's the Shadcn UI. So we're gonna take that from here, and also I'm gonna use another which actually does that Zout, which is a pretty good library for that. As you see in the documentation, there is a very good way how actually you can use and how actually the preferences you are going to happen. So feel free to read the documentation and read how actually those things is working. So for my application, I can actually go through it with by knowing that what actually I'm gonna make. So in the search input here, so here we need to get several of the things. So first, from that UI from, if we just open that, you see the in the UI we have the from and we have the other parameter. So now we can install, like we can use those things here. And to get the things done, we need to use that, I think the 2 parameter, which is going to be that from and from item, maybe. Yeah, that's the things we will use. So I will just get my, or we will start typing that. So first thing first, instead of the div, or I will just close all the parameter here, we're gonna use that from. So that from we need to import from somewhere, right? You see that from should be coming from that UI from. Okay, so there's the our from is lying, so that's will be our from. And after that from, what actually we're gonna do, we're gonna take a normal from parameter. Okay, like if we make the from tag, you see the action button and other parameter. For this application, I don't want to use that action button. And inside that from, what actually we're gonna keep, it will be that we're gonna use a from field. Okay, and also see it's importing from that particular positioning, and it will be the self-closing tag here. And this from, it gonna take that whatever we're gonna just pass it through the from. Okay, and we're gonna create that from. So in the top layer, like here, we can actually create that from, and that from, it will be actually we're gonna create within that a search input parameter. So it will be like a const okay, we create the search input here, sorry. So it will be that we will use that const router, and it will be from that use router from the next navigation, because we need to pass that things. And instead of that, because we are using that hook, so it will be that you need to be use client, otherwise it will not work. So here we're gonna just create that from. So first thing first, we're gonna just render a from. So const from, I'm gonna just create a simple function right now, just to either to be evaporated. And now in the from field, actually what we're gonna put, for that control, it's going to be a from dot control. So whatever the from is controlling, it will control on that. And okay, let's go to make that from the way it should be. So that from, actually it going to use that our friend for that use hook from. Okay, so remember first we told you that we're gonna use that react hook from. So we need to install that, and it will be the pnpm add a react hook from, and it's gonna install our hook from. And here actually we can use that. And here we're gonna write that parameter. So it will be use from, you see we imported it from the use hook from. And here it's going to be that z dot, oops, it will not be that, it will be a z, which we need to import from that. Okay, we will import that z from that zot, import z from zot. Okay, so it will be that z, and the parameter of that infer, it's going to be a type of from schema, schema schema. And also we need to get that from schema. I think it should we need to run that from schema here. We need to just const from schema, and that schema, it will be z.object. And within that object, if you go into the z documentation, you're gonna see that. So it will be that input, and input that it will make that as a string, and then we can actually put that minimum and maximum character. So the minimum 2, and also for the max you can keep 50 or you can keep 30, 40. I'm gonna keep 20. Okay, the movie name, or I'm gonna take 30. Okay, the movie name it can be. So infer, and that's the parameter we actually running here. So what I'm gonna do, instead of putting on that issue, I'm gonna just get that one. So okay, that's the from, and we are using the hook from, and z infer the type of from schema, and resolver, that job resolver we are using, and the from, it's the from schema. And we need to import that from our yeah, hook from resolvers job, as you see. So now actually we can use that from, and here in that from, and what actually some of more things we will put, we will put a name, and that name is going to be that input field name. And also now we need to render the item. What kind of item we're gonna render? So first thing first, we're gonna render that field item. So it will be field, and here after that, I think the first parameter we're gonna return, what we're gonna return, we're gonna return a from item, which actually import from the UI. And here it will be that from control, also we need to import from there, and here we're gonna pass that input. And that input, actually what it gonna take, I think we have input in the UI which actually we can import, but it's not, yeah, we didn't use that input, so we need to use that input thing. So let's import that input. We need to import it pnpm, and here we can get our input from. Okay, just give it time to install. Okay, already installed. Let's import that one from that UI. Still not showing, but it should be show. As you see in the UI we have that input. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just manually import it here. Done. Okay, so now after making that input parameter, so it will be a self-closing input, and here in the input it will take a parameter called that placeholder. So it will be placeholder, which going to be, let's just put a search. Okay, search, and also if any other field is available, it's going to take us to that field. Okay, done. So let's go back to our application. Let's see. Okay, that field, is it not the same name? I think FYELD, yeah, it's the same name, so it's okay. As you see, we're having that because we need to implement our theming parameter. That's why you cannot see. If we just put that text as black, you will see. So if we just go with that, but okay, I'm gonna keep it in a later way, so don't worry about that. But you can see the search parameter is available, and here in the search, or let's put a class name here. Okay, class name, so the space, okay, I'm gonna make that text as a black for right now, and space y should be y should be 1. Okay, you see, now actually we can see our text. Now if what actually is going to happen, we're gonna write a function which actually going to be that onSubmit function. And what that function is going to be doing, it's gonna pass us through to get another page with that. So we're gonna make that const on submit function. Okay, and that onSubmit function is going to be rendered from here. It will be that onSubmit, which is going to be a from dot handle submit, and that submit is gonna handle that onSubmit which actually we created in the top. So now, okay, it should be capital letter onSubmit. I think should be the similar name. Okay, onSubmit. So now that onSubmit, we need to put that parameter which are going to be that values on that. So let's put that value here. Okay, okay, oops, it's my bad. Yeah, that value. So it's just a type for that formula. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use that router, because once we're gonna put something, it's gonna route up through us some of the other parameter as we import router here. So what I'm gonna do, like if we have that value, so it's gonna router dot push, and where actually we're gonna push, let's put a backtick, we're gonna push that search page. And what's the value it's gonna take? It's gonna take the value which actually is coming in the input. Okay, and also after passing that value, we're gonna receive the from, like every time we write something, after hit enter, it's gonna receive that parameter. So right now, again, if we start hitting that, it's gonna take us to some of the other page and give a 404, because we don't have any search page right now. So in that app, we're gonna create a folder which is going to be that search, and that search, how actually we're gonna go with that ID. So search, it will not be ID, it should be the search term. Okay, and here I'm gonna create another page, so page.tsx rafce, so it will be search page. Okay, so now if we are hitting on that, it should be taking us to some of the other page. So like search that do and 2 and hit enter, And as you see, we are here in that search page where actually is taking us to that domain tool. So it's working perfectly. So before working with the genre, search and other parameter, we're gonna set our theme, because for that we're gonna having so many issues to viewing the data. So, and to use that theme, we're gonna use that our theme from the Shadcn UI. If we go back to that dark theme and go with the next, we need to install our theming here. So again, with that npm we will install that, and after installing that one, what actually we need to do, you see there's entire things we need to make copy, and I'm gonna open another file in that components, which going to be theme toggler.tsx and reactjs. So instead of this all, I'm gonna just paste the value we are having there, and instead the name of the theme provider, I'm gonna make that theme toggler. Okay, so now we can use that theme toggler to combine it our application. So instead of that, so that is that our theme toggler. Actually, to keeping the name as the theme toggler, we can actually keep the name as the theme provider. We misspelled that. Okay, it should be that theme provider, yeah, because the theme toggler is going to be the another button, so it will be a theme provider. Okay, that will be our theme provider, and this theme provider we need to inject it in our layout. And how actually we're gonna inject? So let's go to our layout. In that layout, remember we have our header and other parameter here. I'm gonna cut all, and I'm gonna put that theme provider, which we need to import from their parameter. As you see, nothing is appearing right now, but if we go in the theme provider, I will set up the attribute which going to be that class. And don't worry about that. If you go with the documentation, as you see, that's the thing I'm gonna just copy with that. First it's gonna take the system thing, and if we are just passing the other parameter, then it will go with that. So as you see right now, you will see as a dark theme. You see everything is getting dark because my application or my PC is just coming with the dark theme by default, so it's getting that dark. So now let's go and create that theme toggler button. So again, in the components, I will create a file which is going to be theme toggler.tsx reactjs, and that theme toggler, I will close the layout, provider, pages, search input. Let's keep it here. It should be here, theme toggler. Okay, if we come back here, we can see a theme toggler button is already appearing. So in the theme toggler, we need to use that drop down menu, which actually we already used beforehand, and we need two more things. So let's go back here. We need some of the icon. First we need to import that okay, which going to be, I think we need to go in the theme toggler, and here we will use that. But first I'm gonna make it as use client, because we will use that client activity. We're gonna hit, like we're gonna enter something, we're gonna click on that. So if you're using any of the React hook or state managing system, or using any of the third-party library which is not supporting the server-side rendering in Nextjs application, you need to make your application as use client. Then I'm gonna getting several things which going to be that icon and other parameter. I'm gonna install when it's necessary. So first thing first, I need to make that drop down again, so it will be that drop down menu. So within the drop down menu, we need to have that drop down menu trigger. So that will be our menu trigger, and that menu trigger I'm gonna use as child. Actually, if we go back here in the Shadcn UI, you're gonna see that's the code we need to get. You see, everything is available here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy that code, and here instead of writing all, I'm gonna just paste it here, and then I'm gonna import. We need to import the button. okay, button from the UI, and that sun icon from that Lucid React, the moon icon from that Lucid React, and also for that set theme as light and on click event, which actually we need to make. So here I'm gonna make is that, I think it's also written here somewhere, we need to get that set theme as use theme. Okay, and what else is that the use theme we need to import from that next themes, and I think that's it. If you go back here, if it's not appearing, okay, make a reload. Okay, use theme, that's the issue. What actually is, we use that use theme from the next theme. What's wrong with that? It's not a function. CLI ENT, you see the client CLI ENT. Client name was a mistake, that's why it's popping up with the error. If we see here, put a dark, it's already dark, make it light, you see the light theme. And if you put it the system, it will just pick the system theme. Put a light again. What's happened? Okay, we will set that one. The first thing first, before setting that, what we need to do is that to combine all other things. So okay, the moon icon should work. I don't know why it's not setting up that. You see the hover and it's getting that somewhere. We keep our as the white, I think. Okay, let's go to the tailwind config file. So here first thing we're gonna set that one. Okay, remember we want to use some colors, and I keep it pending because Shadcn gonna pick some colors by default, and still okay. I think it should appearing right now, but still it's not getting those colors because I don't want to put manual color. Okay, because we're gonna use the search input, that time it's going to be inject that. Okay, so here if we put back our light theme, yeah, it's appearing. Okay, so we will set that one, don't worry about it. So let's go back to our header. We need to first using so many other properties. So this one, which is going to be 80. Okay, so the background, the main color we're gonna give it 80, and also we are making it a flex, and I'm gonna give a gap of 4, and MD, the gap going to be a 0, and also I'm gonna make it sticky, and that Z going to be 0, not 0, 50, and the top going to be 0 because I want to keep sticky is in the top. So if we roll back here, now you see once I just it's just going to be like that because I give that 80% of the parameter, but I'm gonna setting up in a good way. So here before that one, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a backdrop. So I'm gonna make a backdrop blur of what's actually I'm gonna make 2 axle. Okay, 2 axle, and also transition should be colors. Okay, that actually going to create that, you see. Okay, so that's going to be implemented in a very good way. Also you're gonna create the other parameter, don't worry about that. Okay, let's see what we have got. So now we have that positioning here, so we have that icon. So first thing first, now let's get the movies. Okay, so how actually we gonna get that movies? So let's go to get it, and to get the movie you need to go with that TMDB that official page, and here you need to log in one of your account. Then after login you just go with that profile. In your profile, as you see, that's your profile, and here let's go back to in the bottom. You see there is the API separator. So here we want to get that API. Okay, so we're gonna get the data from the API, and how actually you're gonna get in the API reference, because as you see I am logged in now, so the credential it's gonna show it here. So how actually I'm gonna get the movies? If you just go down in the movies, see the details and the movie list. If I want to go that now playing, you see my header, that's the token, that's the access token I had. So if we click on the try it, and you're gonna see all the movies is actually appearing here. So now we're gonna generate a single function from which actually we can get all the available movies, like all the functions is going to be generated from the single place, which it will be coming with the caching. Like we're gonna grab up the data in one time, and you have a multiple users that you can serve that data as soon, like as the same data, as long as it's not refetching again and again. So we're gonna do it now. So let's go back to our application here, and now one thing you need to get, which is that token. So how actually you can get the token? From your menu here, just click on the setting. First you need to just click you need to create an account, and it's very simple to create the account. And from the API, you see our API key, and then I have the access token key. So that's the token key we're gonna use, that's the access token key we will use. So I'm not gonna show you, but how actually we can do it. That token we can actually keep it in a two-way. First, let's create an .env file here in our root directory. So it will be .env, and here I'm gonna keep some of the things, which going to be first is the next auth URL, and then it's going to be coming that next auth secrets, and then it's going to be TMDB API. Which one is the first? It will be that API key, yeah, API key, and then it's going to be TMDB. It's going to be read access key. So that's the value we will keep it here. And for our first value, I'm gonna just get that API key, but remember we will use the key that API read access token. Okay, and for the next auth, which is going to be our prime auth, which is the local auth 3000, and for that one I will just keep a simple key here. You can type anything and you can generate that one from the next auth. Not the next auth actually, sorry. What actually I am doing, it should be next URL. Sorry, it's my bad, because we are not using next auth. Okay, so it's just for the next URL. And that access token, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy that token from here, from that API, then I'm gonna close that one. Okay, and okay, it's done. I copied already and I close my file here. So I'm gonna close that one. So now from that API we can actually get all the data, and to get all the movie data, what I'm gonna do in that leave, you see the leave folder in the utils, we're gonna already create other things. So in the utils we have some of the other parameter, which actually that cn is created by the Shadcn, so we will use that one later on. Here I'm gonna create another file. So what actually you're gonna create, that similar get movies.ts, and here we're gonna get all the parameters to get all of our movies. And how actually we can get, now here what we're gonna do, so first let's see, we're gonna create a fetch function here. So it will be const fetcher, so you can name any of the things. So it will be the fetcher, and we're gonna make it as async function, because we're gonna connect with that our TMDB server. And in the fetcher, what actually we're gonna make, that we're gonna take that URL. So that URL parameter is going to be that URL, and then we're gonna make it a also cache time. So if cache time is available, it will be as number. Okay, so now URL dot, we're gonna make that a search params. So that what kind of the search params it going to be, we're gonna set that. So to get that search param, so it will be that search params, and then dot set. What actually we're gonna set, we're gonna make that include underscore adult, and we're gonna make it as false. So with that parameter, I'm gonna set that my other URL search params. So it will be those params which actually we're gonna use. That search params include adult false and include video false, and the sort by popularity descending. So the which is the first priority should be going the top, the language should be English, and the page we're gonna set by default is single page like the one. So now we need to create that another parameter. We will create that options. Okay, so it will be const options, and that options is going to be that request init, and from the Nextjs by default it's going to be appearing there, and we're going to create that method first. So the method is going to be get method, and we're gonna pass the headers. So it will be headers, and within the headers we're gonna pass an object. In that object, what it's going to be, we will make that as accept, and accept it will be accepting that application JSON, and also we're gonna make that authorization. So it will be a UTHORI authorization, and that authorization we're gonna make that bearer, and we're gonna pass that our authorization token, which is going to be process.env dot, remember we're gonna keep the name of that TMDB underscore read underscore access underscore key. Okay, so now we can actually access those key, and what actually you're gonna do, we're gonna make a very good trick on that. In the next, we're gonna pass that revalidation time. So what we're gonna do in revalidation, if is the cache time is available, it's gonna take the cache time, which we're gonna pass that. Otherwise it's gonna go the 60 into 24. It means it will make that every 24 hours it's gonna revalidate. Okay, so now from that we're gonna get our response. Okay, so we're gonna set that response. So let's go here, it will be const response, and that response it will be await. Remember, because our function is async functions, we need to await once we are fetching. So it will be the fetch, not the fetcher, it will be fetch, and that fetch it will take that URL, and that URL dot to string, we're gonna make it to string. Then we're gonna pass that our options, which actually we are eradicating. So now as we are having that response, we can pass the data here. So const the data, it will be await, and that await is going to be response.json, and after that we're gonna make that as search results, RESULTS. Okay, now we're gonna pass that parameter for the search results, because we need to define the type. And to define the type in the root layer, we're gonna take a file which gonna be type.ts. Here we're gonna define all the types for our application. So first type is going to be our search results. So if we go here, it will be export type search results, and here first we're gonna define the page, which is going to be the number, and then the results it's going to be that movie results, which actually we need to create what actually it's going to be coming in the movie, and then the total pages, which is going to be also a number, and then the total results also it's going to be the number. And so we will create so many other types. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get all my types which actually going to be defined here, and then I'm gonna keep it here. So as you see, first we are exporting that type which actually going to be the movie, which is coming with those must properties, adult, backdrop, path, genre, like the genre IDs, ID, original language. So this properties is going to be available in the movie, and then we're gonna have a search results which actually going to have those results. Then we have a export type of genre, which actually coming with ID and the name, and that genre is actually we're gonna use it here. So if we come back here, if we click in the genre, that's the things actually we're gonna use it. Okay, then we're gonna have that video props, which where actually we're gonna get our properties of that trailers. So they are actually gonna use that video properties here, which going to be appearing and which actually going to have that video. So this much props we're gonna use, and in that movie properties, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna import that one, that search results parameter. So let's go, let's copy that search results and paste it here. Let's import it. It's not giving us as the way we are expecting, so I'm gonna import it manually. So here what I'm gonna write, import search results from, and it will be from the root layer. So it will be ty. Why actually I'm not getting that? Let's see, we are here in the type.ts. okay, so we should expect that type.ts, and here in the movies it should appearing. Okay, what actually we are missing, yeah, it should not be a function. Yeah, that's the one we are missing. Okay, so it will be search results from the okay, let's click again. We're gonna go with that path. Okay, it's not reading that, so let's put on that way. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just put that, let's see, so it will be from their type. Yeah, sometimes it's just getting freaked out and not giving the actual things should be coming. Okay, so it should work. First thing first, I'm gonna make it as dark theme to combine it if it's working properly or not. So now we are having that data. Okay, so as you're having the data, we can actually return that value of the data. So it will be return and then the data. So now how actually we can prefer that our getting all the values. So if we go with that TMDB, so in the TMDB, in the now play, as you see, that's the parameter we need to get, because all other parameter we are passing in the options, right? So now how actually we can get that data. So I'm gonna make that export export const. First one, it's going to be get now playing. So, and again it will be an asynchronous function. So first create that as async function, async, and here the const URL, that URL should be new URL, and that URL which actually we need to copy from here. So that's the URL we can actually passing for that, and we're gonna copy until the playing. Okay, so we will paste that URL. Okay, so that's the URL it will coming for that now playing, and then we're gonna pass that as const data. It will be awaits, and then we're gonna call our fetcher. So that's the fetcher, we're gonna pass that URL here, and after that we're gonna just return, and it will be data dot results. So that's the results actually we can use that one right now. So I'm gonna use several of those kind of parameter and functions. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna popping all the function. Don't worry, this code it will be available for you. So it will be not, because we create that fetcher function. So instead of that portion fetch from TMDB, I'm gonna just use that fetcher function everywhere. Okay, it will be the fetcher and similar way. Okay, so now what actually I am doing that one here. Okay, just need to replace. So here as you see, first I'm fetching that get now playing data, then again get upcoming movies, and then also you can put that get now playing movies to keep the similarities. and then I'm getting the top rated movies. As you see, the thing is all the same. As you see in the popular, all the parameters is going to be the same, just the name, just the API name is different, the top rated and the popular, so it's the same name. But now here once we're coming with the get discovery movies, what actually we are passing with that ID and the keywords. Then with the ID and keyword, keyword we are putting with the search params, we are setting that keyword, the name and the generic ID. Then we are getting that our results, which is coming for the discover movies. And again for that search web movies, which once we are passing that value for the search, we're showing that URL, then we are passing that term, and that term we are keeping that the value which actually going to be searched. So the name, the movie of the which we are going to be searched, we are passing in that search params, then we are fetching that one and getting the results. And now get the movies videos for the URL, like for that trailer, we're going with that. You see, if we are going to see make that one, I think we can find that one in that parameter. So let's go back here. I'm gonna show you one thing is that in that TV seasons, it should not be in the seasons, or actually TV series. Okay, here you can see that videos. So to get the videos, what we need to do is that passing that ID. Okay, now if you put a valid ID of the movie, it will just give you that. But for right now, I think we doesn't have the valid ID. If we put that any of the random ID, let's see if it's happening or not. Maybe it will not get anything. Yeah, the result is empty. But once we're getting that actual ID, you can get the movie. So that's the one we are passing with that ID. You see that ID is setting before the video. That's the ID, then the videos. So that's the one we are following here. And for that get movie details, we are passing the same parameter with that ID, and we're gonna fetch that actual movie details. So those are the parameters we're gonna use to get our movie data. And now let's go and test if it's working or not. And to test that one, let's go back to our main page, which is the page.tsx. Here is our main page. So here, what we're gonna do, before getting that one, we need to make that as a synchronous function. So it will be async. And now, what we're gonna do, const now playing movies, it equal to be await, and it will be the get now playing movies. Okay, so first if we make that log, and of course it's a server side rendering, so the console, the log, it will be in here in the server. If we just put that now playing movies, as you see, all the now playing movies is available. So our things is working. So what I'm gonna do here, I will just render all other movies right now, because later on we need to use that one just to show actually is working or not. I'm gonna keep it here. Okay, now playing is working. So now what we need to do, we need to first go with that our genre, and then we will go with the search parameter to create that page. And to implement that one, remember in the genre drop down, we need to go through and finish the work, which actually is still pending. So let's go back to genre, and here in the genre, okay, that's the page. Now here we need to it's not actually in the genre page, it should be that our genre drop down. Okay, here we need to work. So here we need to make that call in a separate, like in the normal way. So it will be const URL. We need to set that URL, which is going to be our genre URL. And to get that genre URL, if we go back with the TMDB, and here you need to find somewhere which actually you can get that with the genre URL. So I'm just gonna get that URL and I'm gonna paste it here. So it will be that genre movie list. So all the movie indicating with the genre, it will be available. Now const options. Of course we need to make that one as an async function. Async. And okay, it should be what's wrong, yeah, async, and it will be options. Options, it will be same way we use that request init. Okay, so now what we need to pass is that we need to pass the method, which is going to be a get method. and after that we need to pass the headers, and in the headers, remember, it will be in the headers, remember the value we are passing here. In the get movies we pass one value here, which is that one, so I'm gonna just copy that value for that, okay, in the headers, and also I'm gonna copy that entire thing actually, okay. So okay, and also I'm revalidating that one. So in that one here it will not be any cache time, because I'm not gonna pass any cache time. It will always be revalidated every 24 hours. So now I'm gonna get that const response, and that response, it will be await const response. I believe it should be here. No, it should be in here. Const, okay, what actually I am messing around. Okay, it should not be here. Okay, that's the thing is done. From where actually that things is, okay, that's just a simple type error. Okay, so now I need to make that response, and it will be await. What response it will await? Await to fetch, and that it will be that URL we are passing and the options we have been created here in the top layer. Okay, and now we need to get the data, const data, and that data it will be await, and then response dot JSON, and that JSON we need to pass the data as generous. So in the generous, in the type, remember we are passing the genre value, which will come with an ID and with a name. So now we can actually use that data and because we are getting as the genre. So if we make with the console.log, if we get the log and get the data here, you can see all the data, all the genre value is available, like the ID and the action, adventure, animation. So now we are having all the value for the genre. So now we can make that map through, instead of mapping with that particular array which we created before, the dummy array. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that mapping with that data, and with that data.map we're gonna map with that, and with the data it will not be that simple data, it will be available. If data is available, then genre should be there, and I'm gonna get everything as a genre. And here instead of item I will just replace it with the genre, or you can just go through with that your particular things, doesn't matter. Okay, so now if we save, let's go back to our application. If we click, as you see, all the things is available. If I click in the animation, as you see, the animation is appearing. So we need to create that particular parameter on that, so we can actually go through it. So before creating that page, first let's go back to our home page. We will create the other parameter, but before going that, we will also need to create that search page as well. So let's go, I think in the search we already created that. Yeah, we can go back to the search. So before creating those portions, first let's go and visualize actually how we're gonna set up our application. We're gonna create that carousel here, okay? Otherwise it's not looking that we haven't created something. So we're gonna create that carousel. And how actually we can create that? So first thing first, I'm gonna close other parameter, or I'm gonna close all, and here I'm gonna open one more file, which actually I'm gonna make that as carousel banner.tsx, RAFCE, which is going to be the carousel banner. And I think in the I keep something maybe there. I may forget to remove the log, and that one, it should be genre drop down. No, I removed that. Yeah, it's previous data. Okay, so now in the carousel we need to import that one in our page. So let's go back to the page. Instead of that data, I'm gonna keep that carousel banner. Okay, I think CARO. Yeah, I made the mistake of the name. You may keep it in a correct way. It is coming with the carousel. Okay, don't worry about that. So that's the carousel banner we're gonna create. So in the banner, let's just go with that. Here in the banner we're gonna modify that one to get the data. So what the data we're gonna get, it will be const movies. That movie is going to be await, and that await it will be get discover movies. And of course we need to make it a sync function, otherwise it will not work. So we're gonna get that movie name from there, and as in the movie name we need to go with some of the properties. We're gonna pass that ID and the keywords as the props. Okay, so the discovery movies. So and why we need to do that, remember in the discover movies we are passing that ID and keywords. So to get that, first we need to pass an object here, and in the object we're gonna get ID and keywords, and we're gonna pass that value as props, and we will implement the props here. So it will be interface props, and that props it will be, if the ID is available it will be string, and also the keywords, if it's available it will be a string. That's it. So in that parameter I will pass that ID and keywords. If it's available it's going to show, otherwise it will do nothing. And if I make the log and get the movies, all the movies it should be appearing here. As you see, we can get the banner and other things. But right now, actually why I am rendering the movies here, because now I can get the movies at the server side. So now I will create the actual carousel. Okay, so here in that component I'm gonna make that file, which is going to be hero carousel.tsx rafce. So that will be my actual carousel. Okay, so in that here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just get directly that hero carousel, and here I'm gonna pass that movies as movies. So now let's go back to my hero carousel, and here we're gonna get my carousel to pass the data here. So how actually I'm gonna implementing that, so there I'm gonna get that as movies, and I'm gonna pass the value as props, and again I will pass that interface as props, and that props it will be movies, which going to be, remember we have a properties of movie, it will be that array of movies. So now we need to use that our AMLA carousel, which we are going to use that for the AMLA carousel React. So let's go to their website. Okay, and let's see how actually we can set it up. So if we go back here in the get started, and here we will use with the React, we need to install that one, and I will go with yarn. So I will just copy that, and I'm gonna make that not yarn pnpm add. So I will add that one, and after adding in the root layer I need to make it as a use client, because that library is not supporting that client side interaction. So after doing that, what I need to do is that creating that AMLA ref and other parameter. That's the things, the simple way we can actually use that. And don't worry about that, because we're gonna statically generate and you're gonna just see it in a perfect way. So let's go back to our carousel here. Okay, so now in that div, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take another div, and in the div I'm gonna map through my movies. So movies.map, and it will be passing that as movie, a single movie, and we're gonna return what actually we're gonna return. We're gonna return a div, just get that title. Okay, you see the title. So all the carousel which actually happening, it is applicable here. So in the top layer of the div, what I'm gonna do, put a class name. I'm gonna make it that as overflow, it will be hidden, cursor should be pointer, and I'm gonna make it as relative, and I'm gonna put the reference here. So the const it will be that, or I can just simply go with that AMLA. I can actually get that AMLA carousel reference. So that one going to be here, and I need to import that one for sure. Okay, it's not importing directly, so I will just import it manually. Okay, so that's the one. And here in that ambler, I'm gonna make that as loop should be true, and also the okay, it should be inside an object, that's why it's not taking. Loop should be true, and the duration going to be 100 minutes, like 1 second. Okay, it should be the 10 seconds. Okay, so be careful with that value. So now after passing that, also what I'm gonna make it that I will pass that auto play, and that autoplay also I need to install. So let's go back to the down here. As you see, that's the autoplay I need to install. API, see, that's the autoplay I need to install to enable playing automatically after every 10 seconds. So again, pnpm add. Okay, and what I need to do, I need to just get that entire code. So instead of copying the top layer, I need to just copy this portion, and as you see, the loop and every other properties is available right now. So here what I need to import is that import auto play from autoplay. Okay, so now actually I can use that autoplay. Did you mean the autoplay? Oh yeah, that P should be capital, autoplay. So now I have that autoplay and I have the value here, the title. But now there is another portion, because this one, what I'm gonna do, class name, I will make it a flex, so it gonna come up with the side by side. And don't worry, because what we need to do, we need to give that exact width on here. But first I need to get that image, and remember, in the image, if we just go and make that movie, we log the movie and movies. So now we can actually hit back the data here in that inspect on our client side. Now in the array, you see the path, the backdrop path is, that's the path, it's not the actual full length of the path. So we cannot render our image right now, because that's the image, it's not actual the page of image. So we need to make that link of that image so we can get the exact URL to get the image. And to get that one, we will create another function which going to be naming as that of, so it will be get image path.ts. So now here we're gonna make that const get image path, and we will just simply make an arrow function, and in that arrow function it's going to take several parameters. So it will be that image path which coming if it's available, it will be string, and then we will also define the full size which going to be boolean. So it will be full size or it will not be. So now the return, and it will return if the image path is available, it's gonna return a value. So let's put on the backtick, and if it's not available, it's gonna return a separate value. So if it's not available, what actually it's going to do, it's going to be returning that image which is the default image we are putting that. So that image going to be available, like if there is no screen is available. I think 1 or 2 movies where actually you will not see any of the images. So let's go back to the upcoming. Some movies is there, sometimes is, I think, yeah, all have that images. If it's not, then you will find 1 or 2 images which going to be showcasing our that manual image. And then if the image path is available, what actually it going to be render, it going to be render the HTTP. Okay, it's not HTTPS, it's going to be HTTP image. So that's the route it's going to be popping up. Okay, that's the route it's going to be popping up to get the image. And after that, it will take the parameter if the full size is available, then it's going to pass that original size. And if it's not available, then it's going to be taking as the style of width of 500. So it will be that with 500, and then we need to divide that parameter. Okay, I think I may make a mistake because it should be within that line. I just go out of the boundary, so it should be in that proportion. So like if the image path is available, like I have the image, then it will get that image with that URL, so it will get the particular image. And after that, if it's the full size is available, if we provide the full size, it will give that original size of the image. Otherwise it will give only the width of 50 and that image path. Let's go back to our hero carousel. Let's see how actually we can render that one. So now we are having that movie. Okay, so in that movie, as we are mapping that, we need to pass a key, so it will be movie.id. And after that, also let's generate the image here, so it will be image, which going to be import from the next image. And in the image on the source, we will provide that parameter src, and it will be that get image path. Okay, in that image path, we're gonna pass that movie dot backdrop path, and it should be true, it should be available there. And after that, the alt tag, it's going to be movie dot title. And now we need to pass in width and height, as we are getting from that. You see, it will be the full width and height, and the height, it's going to be height, it's going to be 1080. If we save that one, let's go back to our application. Let's see if we are rendering anything or not. What is actually saying get generate path is not defined. Did we import that? No, we didn't import, we just used that. Import that one. Okay, it's not importing also. So why it's not importing? Because we didn't export that, I think so. Yeah, we need to export, otherwise we can't use that. So now let's import that, and tada. So there should be, our image should be coming here, but you see, image is here, but it's very small. So let's make it in a good way so we can use it. And how actually we can use, because we need to use that as a reference of our slider we are using, or so the reference, we need to pass that ref as that umbrella ref. So now it's actually going to get our reference. As you see, now it's actually popping up. So here we make the flex properties, but we didn't get actual flex, which is going to be the full image width and height. So we can actually make that configuration. If we go back to our umbrella, so in the style properties, as you see, that's the flex properties we need to pass, otherwise it will not work. So what I'm gonna do, in that our extend value, in here on that tailwind config properties, after the extend, I'm gonna pass that flex as a full and that parameter. So now let's go back here so we can actually get those things done. So what I'm gonna do, first thing first, in that div, put a class name, it will be that flex full, and then min weight going to be 0, and I'm gonna make it as relative. So let's hit the save, and let's go back to our application. As you see, it's working perfectly, and you see the backdrop blur is actually also working smoothly. Okay, so after happening that, we need to pass that other properties, which going to be happening after that image. I'm gonna take another div. Within that div, I'm gonna take an h2 tag, which going to be that movie dot title, and after h2 tag, another p tag, which going to be movie dot overview. And you see those two properties is available. So now let's go to make those parameter more reliable. So let's go in the top layer, and I want to make it as hidden by default. So LG is going to be inline, so it's gonna show whenever it's LG screen. Absolute, of course. From the top, it's going to be 0. Padding top, I want to keep it as 40. Excel padding top going to be 72, and the left going to be 0. BJ going to be transparent. So okay, you see, looks cool. So now let's make it more reliable. And Z, I'm gonna put 10, height going to be full, width going to be full height and full width, and BJ, I'm gonna make a gradient from to R, okay, from right, and it will be from gray of 900, and that 900 is going to be the 90% of the 900 via it will be transparent, and then 2 it going to be also transparent, and then padding going to be 10, and space Y going to be 5, and text going to be white. Okay, hit the save, and as you see we are having that parameter. Looks so cool, is similar on that, but something need to be adopted more, which going to be then h2 tag. Class name text going to be, let's keep a 5 pixel. Font, it will be a bold font, not the extra bold, it will be bold, and then I'm gonna make a max width of Excel. Okay, let's hit save. Okay, cool. And then in the p tag put a class name, max width of Excel, and line clamp of 3, so it will not go bigger than 3 line. As you see, now it's the similar of that parameter which actually we have been done before. As you see, cool. And also if you reload, see, it's cool. That's the same things we have been done beforehand. So now we are showing that image like our carousel. Now we need to render our this particular image. And by the way, if you go in the lower device, like if you go back to the inspector, and now if we make our mobile device included, as you see, you can actually scroll through that. And if you have a mouse which having this scrolling enable vertically, horizontally, you can also scroll in horizontal, so that's scrolling effect is going on. So now I'm gonna use another things which actually going to give us that much. You see that layer in the bottom, but we don't have that layer here, so I want to adopt that layer. So I think yeah, I want to adopt that layer. So what actually I'm gonna do in here, I'm gonna get a self-closing div, and that div put a class name. Oops, it will be class name, and that it will also be absolute. Top going to be 0, left going to be a 0, inset going to be 0, and then VJ, I'm gonna make a gradient to bottom. Okay, and from it's going to be a from gray of 900, and it will coming with the 10% of opacity via gray of 300, not the 300, again the 900 of opacity, but the 30% of that opacity, 900 but 30% of opacity, and 2 gray of 300, and dark, whenever it's hitting the dark, it should be available to, remember the color actually we use in that our header. So let's go back to our header, which is our that color 1212. So we're gonna prefer to use that color, so it will be 121212. Perfect. Okay, so now if we reload, as you see, now our that effect is happening. So if we just remove that portion, like if we want to make that getting more dark, you see it's getting more dark, so that's the effect actually is coming through here. Okay, now that line is complete. So now we are showing that our carousel and the carousel portion is done. So I'm gonna close all. Now what actually we're gonna do is that to create our particular page which actually going to showcase our another adoption. So now what we will do, we will create another file which actually it will be our movie, what you call that, MovieContainer.tsx, RAFCE. So that movie container going to contain all the movies available here. So let's go back to here in that portion, and we need to import that one here in the top layer. So on that particular page, I'm gonna get a div here, so put a div, and here it will be movie container. Okay, so in the movie container, I'm put a class name which is going to be flex in column, and space y going to be 2. Now in the movie container, first thing first, I'm gonna pass that as a movies, which going to be now playing movies, and also I'm gonna pass that title, which going to be now playing. Okay, so let's go back to our movie container. So now in the movie container, we're gonna pass several parameter. So first we're gonna take the title, and then we're gonna get the movies, and then also we're gonna get that is vertical, because as you see here we are showing the movie as vertical, like horizontally, but if you go with the view more, as you see we are showing the movie as vertically. So these two parameters are going to be dependent from a single component within the props. Okay, so let's go back to our application. Now here I need to pass that parameter of that interface, which going to be like interface, and you can also put the type, like if we make the type as props, so in the props it will be the title. If the title is available, only then it should be string, and also then movies going to be that movie value in the type which we declared beforehand, and then is vertical, which going to be is available, then it will be boolean, and here I'm gonna pass my props. Okay, so now here actually what we're gonna do in the top layer of the div, let's put some class name on it, because we need to go one by one. So first thing first, let's put a class name here, which going to be max mx, it will be 10, margin horizontal, padding y should be 2, and then I'm gonna make it a flex item center, justify between, and we will also make a border of the bottom, and border bottom should be gray 500. Okay, 500, and oopsie, it should not be that one, it should be the other one. Yeah, because I need to have a div in the root layer which will do nothing, because we are now going to create that one, now playing and view more. Okay, so first thing first, so that's the border, and also I'm gonna make it as relative, and also margin bottom going to be 4. Okay, so now if you go back here, as you see the movie container is visible, but before before going to do it, to be a more adoptional way, I will make the footer, so it will be simple way to create, to see a good visualization. So let's go back to the footer. I'm gonna create the footer in a very easy way. So components in the file, it will be a footer.tsx rafce, and that footer going to be inject in the layout, and after the children it will be that footer. Okay, so now before going to see other parameter, you can see the footer, and let's design that footer. So in the footer, let's put some class name on that. bj, it will be the color, it will be 191919, and then padding x going to be 10, padding y going to be 20, and also I'm gonna make a grid calls default, it will be 1, and md the grid calls, it will be 2, and lg grid calls, it will be 4, and I'm gonna give a gap of 10. Okay, so now you can see the gap is available here. So first thing first, you see how many divs actually we need to create. We need to create 4 divs here. So first thing first, here I'm going to create our first div, which is going to be creating one h2 tag. It will be about us. Okay, so in that about us, that h2 tag going to get some class name. The text going to be the base text, so the base it will be the 16 pixel, and now the text going to be the uppercase, font it will be bold, and then text going to be white, not the wrap, it will be white, and tracking should be white, border bottom would be, and border bottom should be gray of 300. Okay, or we can actually put that gray of 600 to make a darker border, and after that we also give a padding y, so it's going to be padding y of 2, and then margin bottom of 5, and also I'm gonna make it as relative. Okay, now you can see the about us is already appearing. Now remember, we have one image which actually we are keeping in the header. So let's go and get that image, the entire image. We're gonna take it from there. So we're gonna pass one h2 tag, which going to be what we did actually. That's the border. Yeah, h2 tag should be about us, then the image. Yeah, that's right. Should be coming from next link, and the image from the next image, and blah blah blah. Okay, so now we should be able to see our image here. Okay, where's the image? Yeah, image is going there. I think we may missed something. Yeah, that's what we missed, is that we need to pass that within wait a minute, within that div. Okay, what actually we are doing, we are passing that in the movie container. It should not be. Okay, that's why, because we are pushing it in the wrong place. That's why it just giving us a bad impression. So it should be here. Okay, there should be that image. Okay, so it's our bad, I just placed in a wrong place. Okay, so now if I hit the save, I should be able to see our streamline. So that one no need, because it's already we are pushing that one, as you see. But right now we need to create that line here, and to implement that line, you see that about us, I think we write it twice, so one should not be appearing here. I will remove the other parameter because I may make mistake again. So now here, after that about us, I'm gonna take one span tag, or I'm gonna take one self-closing span tag. Okay, put a class name which is going to be width of 16 and height of 1. I'm gonna make a VJ of rate of 600, inline block, and then I'm gonna make it absolute. From the left it's going to be 0, minus and minus bottom, which going to be 1.5 pixel, and z going to be 10. And as you see, that line is available. Okay, so we are almost there. So after pushing that things, what we need to do to create that, after that link parameter of that icon, we need to get the text. Okay, so okay, that will be our text. So that's the link. I think the text need to be okay. So the text, put some class name, and inside that class name the text going to be gray of 200, text going to be small text, and leading going to be 6, tracking should be wide, and margin top going to be 5, max width going to be 72. Okay, as you see, looks cool. So now that's our one div. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy that div, I'm gonna paste again. So we're gonna have another similar div, but the second one which actually not going to have that portion. So in the second div we have that information. So what I'm gonna do, instead of that about us, it should be that information, and as you see that is changed. And after that I'm gonna remove this one. Okay, we need to have that particular thing. So how actually we gonna do, instead of passing that other value here, so we no need to have this much portion, we need to create one parameter to have the other things. So here in the top layer, what we're gonna do is to get two array. One, it will be info array, another it going to be the contact array. Now you can create it the array with other properties, because you see the about us, the title, and the href going to be /about, like the first one giving the title, the second one giving the link or the page reference where actually you're gonna pass that value. So now after passing that array, we're gonna create some more things, which are going to be, I'm gonna create a function. So it will be information, and that function it going to take a parameter. Okay, so in the parameter, let's see what actually we're gonna do is that we're gonna pass a div, and in the div we're gonna just simply getting that info array which actually we're gonna map through it. So let's go info array dot map, and after mapping that I'm gonna pass the item. Okay, and in the sorry, it should be the first bracket. Then I'm gonna pass that link, and inside that link it should be that item dot title, and for the reference href should be item dot href, and also for the key should be item dot title. Let's hit the save, and that information, you see the information tag, I'm gonna just pass that information here. Let's see if we're getting anything. Okay, right now we are not getting anything. Why? What actually is saying information should be a JSX component. Okay, yeah, we need to return a value, so should be return something, otherwise it will not appearing for sure. Yeah, now see it's appearing here. So now what we're gonna do in that div, make a class name which is going to be flex in the column portion, and text going to be gray of 300. Hit save. As you see, looks cool. Now before that title, I'm gonna again take one span tag which going to be the self-closing span tag, put a class name, and width going to be 2, height going to be 2, rounded going to be full, inline should be in flex, and we're gonna make a border, and border going to be red of 700. And if we save that, you're gonna see something. See the icon is appearing here. Before going to do other properties, let's go in the top layer. I'm gonna give that portion, otherwise you will not understand what actually happening. So whenever we hover, text will be the white text, text going to be small text, margin bottom should be 1, cursor pointer, and the duration should be 200, and border should be bottom area, and border bottom should be 222. Okay, and after that padding Y should be 1, and flex item center gap x-axis going to be 3, and I'm gonna make it as group. As you see, looks cool. Okay, also you can do one thing which going to be hover border bottom going to be white, but it's not looks nice, so I'll just align with that. If you want to keep, you can keep it. So now as I make a group, I can make another properties here. What I'm gonna do, whenever you're gonna hover on the group, what I'm gonna do should be the BG should be red of 700, and duration going to be 200. So now as you see, hovering, as you see, it looks perfect. So now we have information tab. So now what actually we can do, we can just copy that div, we can make it another div, and you see we get another information, but that one should be the category. So let's go and type that category here, so it will be that our category. Now in the category we can pass one value so that we can render the category parameter, because see, that's the same thing, just the value should be changing. So remember, we have a value called the category, the contact array, so we can actually create that with that contact array. So to grab these things, we can actually pass one parameter here, so it will be contact should be true. So now that value can actually should be accessible, and we can use it as a boolean value. So now here we're gonna pass that contact, and when the contact value is available, it should be boolean. That's it. So now here we're gonna write a function which going to be, if the contact is available, then it's going to be render something. If it's not available, it's going to be render something. So if its contact is available, it's gonna render that. Not available, render that. And of course, as we are rendering in the JSX, we need to remove the second bracket. We can directly use that without any bracket. Okay, so once the contact is available, we want to pass the value from that contact array. That's simple as it is. What we made wrong, I think something is wrong somewhere, where actually we are passing the wrong value. Okay, so here we need to pass one value if the contact is available. Maybe sometimes we don't want to see that contact value, so that's the fun that is here. As you see, perfect. And the responsiveness, that's cool. So now we have that contact parameter. So one more parameter is there, which is going to be our contact with us and phone number and others. So remember, we have that space, so I'm gonna just copy that down here, and after that I'm gonna passing that writer, with which actually say that connect with us. Okay, how actually anyone can connect with us, we're gonna give them the parameter. So let's put a div, and inside the div I'm gonna pass a p tag, should be phone, and inside this span tag we're gonna pass 17728 and then 3369. Depends on you what actually you want to show. So if we go back here, see the phone number, so go in that p tag, not the p tag, so we will actually go in the div top class. So in the class name I'm gonna make the text gray of 300, and text should be sm, also flex column, and the gap should be 2. So the text is gray right now. So in this span tag, text should be white, font should be medium. That's it. So now you can see. So I'm gonna just copy that one here, and I'm gonna pass my email, and in the email I'm gonna give you my real email. So if you have any problem, you can just contact with me about that parameter. So it will be node.jsdips@gmail.com. Feel free to contact me or mail me if you are facing any of the problem writing this. So now see, mail, email, phone number and email. So that portion is done. Now we can actually work with our MovieContainer. So actually we are going to work for something, then we pass with the other thing. So let's close that, let's go with that our page, and now MovieContainer. Okay, so in the MovieContainer, what actually we gonna pass? Remember, we created those portion just beforehand, that h2 tag, right? So that's the div over here, which going to pass with that. So here I'm gonna pass one h2 tag, which going to be take the title. So it will be the title we are passing, the now playing. So that's the title. Then we need to create the other parameter, and for the title we need to also put some class name, which are going to be text will be small, uppercase, and then font going to be a bold, tracking going to be wider. Let's see how it's looking. Yeah, looks cool. So that's the one. Then we're gonna pass a link parameter. Don't forget to import from the next link, and in the link parameter we're gonna pass that as viewmore, and that href, it's going to take the path name, that path name which going to be as /view for more, should be view more, and then the query, we're gonna pass the query, the title should be, the title need to be carrying on that, so that we can go back to give all the value from there. Okay, so that's the title, and after some of the properties which are going to be there, so let's go and create the class name. bj going to be gray of 800, and then text going to be extra small, text should be white, uppercase, and then px going to be 2, py going to be 1, and rounded md. Then border should be gray of 600, Font also I'm gonna make it a semi bold, and hover bj should be black. Okay, and the duration going to be 300. Now you should be able to see the view more, and also if you go in the light theme, you see that's working perfectly. Okay, this button actually freaking me out, so let's go back to our header, and in the toggler, so that's the, where is the theme toggler? Moon. I think the sun, the moon button, so I'm gonna make that text of black just to see. Yeah, hover is getting black. What's wrong with that? For the dark is working. Okay, I think I am in the wrong portion. Okay, sun light. Okay, now cool. Yeah, that's just getting an issue with that. Okay, moon getting, and the light, sun getting. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm gonna remove that. It's done. So after that, so now actually it's working perfectly. So we have the view more, and now one more thing should be appearing here, which is going to be that span tag. Remember that span tag actually we have been created, so I will not go with that again and again. So that's the span tag which actually we are placing here. So now we need to create that portion to combine that image. So how actually we're gonna do? So we're gonna create that function and formula. So after below that div, we're gonna take one more div, and here we're gonna pass that vertical value. Okay, so before creating the vertical value, we first need to create our movie card, which is going to be show the movie. So it will be movie card.tsx rafce. So now we need to pass our movie card here. So it will be movie card, sorry, it will be movie card. Okay, so if you go back here, our movie card is appearing here. Okay, so now we need to conditionally render some of the properties. So put a class name. So instead of that class name, we will use that cn. Remember that cn in the utils of the libraries, which actually installed by Shadcn. If you go in the UI and not in the UI, in the lib utils, as you see, that's the parameter going to be conditionally rendering that CSS style sheet. So in the cn, what actually we're gonna pass is that we're gonna pass that parameter, which by default going to be a flex, and it will be space x going to be a 4, and then overflow should be scroll. Remember to combine with that scrolling parameter. Okay, where is our scroll? Oops, it's my bad. So it will be overflow scroll, and then what actually we need to put, px going to be 5, and lg the padding horizontal, sorry, the horizontal going to be 10, and padding y should be 5. And I'm gonna make that scroll bar height, but right now I'm gonna keep it just to show. But first we need to align with that. As you see the scroll bar, we're gonna hide it later on. So now we need to pass the movie card. So in the movie card, we're gonna pass that movie should be that. So the movie in it will be in the movie card, but beforehand we need to render the movies, right? So instead of that movie card directly injecting here, we're gonna pass that movies.map. So it will be movie, and then we're gonna return that movie card. So now as you see, all the movie card is available here. So now the value which going to be, we need to pass that key value and other properties. But yeah, so first we're gonna give that key, which going to be movie dot id, and we also pass the movie as the movie. So now we are having that movie card which is going to be held the movie. So let's go inside our movie card and see how actually we're gonna render. So here we're gonna pass the movie here and we're gonna capture the movie. So the movie is going to be movie of that movie type we are providing here. In the type you can see we have the adult, backdrop path, and all other properties which actually the movie can get. If you just make the console.log, all the parameters you will get perfectly. So now here what actually we're gonna pass that, we're gonna get another div, and inside the div we're gonna get a p tag which is going to be render that movie dot title. Okay, so that's the title. We can see, you see the title is available, but before showing the title I want to pass the image, so it will be good to see that one. Image, need to import from the next image, and then the source, remember we will creating that get image path. So if the movie dot backdrop path is available, then it will take the backdrop path. If it's not available, then movie dot poster path, so any of the path it will capture. And then alt, it will be that movie dot title. Okay, and after that parameter width, I'm gonna just pass the default parameter, and height, just passing the default value. Okay, let's hit save and we should be able to see the image. You see that image is available here. So now we're gonna pass the class name. So class name, the width should be fit, so it's gonna get the accurating the all width which is actual the fitable. LG min width, it will be, let's give 400 pixel. Okay, so now why actually is showing, you see once it's coming in the minimum screen. Okay, we're gonna fix that. So first, as you see, it's giving that, so height is going to be 56. So now if we go back to that screen, okay, it's not getting that. Okay, we need to make that in the top layer. We need to make the changes. Okay, we'll do it, but first we're gonna fix that one. Okay, and also object should be cover, and shadow should be MD. Also shadow should be gray of gray of 900, and we're gonna make a drop shadow. Okay, drop shadow of Vercel. So now as you see, it looks a little bit combining nice, but it will be more flexible, don't worry about it. So now we are having that one, but right now as you see that scroll bar we need to hide, because if you have your vertical like horizontal scroll, you can scroll, but we want to hide the bar. How actually we can do, we will use a plugin which is actually for the hide scroll. So that one actually we need to get for the Tailwind CSS, and if we go back there, let's just search it here, Tailwind scroll bar hide. First we need to install that, so let's go back to our application and npm add, okay, that one. And how actually we can use, see in the plugin we need to require that, so let's go with that Tailwind config, and I think yeah it's already using that one portion, so we will use the another one. Okay, that's it. So let's go back in the movie card. So after in the movie card, what actually we're gonna do is that let's make in the carousel, remember, not the carousel, the container here, actually we can make that one here where we are putting that py in 5, then we can make that scroll bar. Why I'm typing that, see the scroll bar height, and let's close that. Okay, as you see the scroll bar is hidden. Okay, now let's go back to movie card and place the other portion. So now we will also get our title, but before getting the title in the top layer of that, so what actually we can do is that the top layer, first we're gonna make it as relative, and then flex shrink should be a 0, cursor should be pointer, transform, and hover scale should be 105, and then we're gonna make a transition, and that duration of 200. Easy out of transition we're gonna provide, then hover, drop shadow of LG. Okay, let's hit save. As you see, actually it's happening, but it's not giving that effect. Don't worry, we're gonna provide that also. Actually, how actually we're gonna provide? So there in that particular div, we can actually go with that MovieContainer here. So in that layer, maybe we can actually work is vertical. Remember the parameter we are taking, which is going to be is vertical, but we can also, okay, we actually going to see something which can be fitable, but right now we will create inside that div. What I'm gonna do is that okay, I'm gonna make that out of that div. Okay, let's see. Yeah, because it should be out from that div. Yeah, that's why. Okay, now that p tag, which I'm gonna do absolute, and z going to be 20 to see it perfectly. Bottom should be in 5, and left, from left it will be 5. Okay, as you see, okay, that's affecting. And also we can make the title more reliable. As you see, there is a shadow is happening, so we need to give that shadow here. So what I'm gonna do in that layer, I'm gonna make a self-closing div again, put a class name. Remember the shadow we have been provided for the images, which actually getting that movie carousel, or let's go back the page, movie carousel and hero carousel. So here we are providing one shadow. I'm just gonna copy that shadow, and then in the movie card I would love to pass that. Is it workable? Did it work? No. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna prefer my define shadow here. So that's the properties. Okay, that's the shadow. Yeah, now you see there is a dark shadow is appearing. Good. So now we have a movie card here. So now what actually we can do, let's go back to the home. We can actually generate the other movies, 1, 2, 3. So now here in the here, what actually you're gonna do, we're gonna put that upcoming movie, and which going to be passing that, or actually I'm just gonna pass that, it will be upcoming, and then it's going to be top rated, and I'm gonna pass that text also, which going to be top rated, and then I'm gonna pass that popular movies, which going to pass the title as popular. Okay, so let's see what actually is happening. Okay, our movie is giving perfectly. So now let's just pass is vertical is true. So we are passing that is vertical is true. So let's go how actually it going to be effect once we are like enabling the vertical parameter. So remember, we are getting a value of is vertical. So this is our application. We're actually mapping all the movies. So what I'm gonna do is to get that here in that parameter, I'm gonna pass one value, which going to be is vertical available, and what I'm gonna make is that flex column, not flex column, actually already in flex. So flex call is space x going to be 0, space y should be 12. Okay, so still you see that value. So now it's getting a different parameter. Okay, so now we need to just nearly adopt some other parameters. So this is the movie. So what actually we will do is that getting a parameter is vertical is available, then we will pass something, not available we're gonna pass something. Remember we did before, we need to remove that instances and hit save. So now what it will happen is vertical is available. Remember that one, we're gonna render it within a div. Okay, so it will be in it will be inside. What's wrong with that? It will be inside a div. Okay, so now instead of passing that key here, I'm gonna give that key within that div parameter, and also I'm gonna write some class name which going to be a render with condition. So with the cn condition, which going to be is vertical and n, it going to be flex going to be in column portion, space y going to be 5, and then margin bottom should be 5, and item center lg should be flex row portion, space x going to be 5. And as you see, the similar proportion, if you go in view more, as you see, that's the portion we are showing there. So now we need to generate other properties, which going to be, that's the movie. So now what actually we're gonna generate is that we're gonna get one for here also. So it will be a div, then a p tag. So now here we're gonna pass that movie dot title, and then what we're gonna do is that movie dot release date, and we're gonna split. And what actually we're gonna split from the dash, we're gonna pass that index value, so it will be our value of that 0 index. Okay, let's see what actually you are saying. Yeah, we are passing that movie part 2 and we are getting that value perfectly. So in the p tag, let's put a class name, font going to be bold, hit save. Okay, save. So as we save that one, now after that we're gonna pass one hr tag, so it will be hr. Now here we're gonna combine some class name, which going to be margin bottom of 3, and after passing that should be our movie.overview. Hit save, and let's see what we got. Yeah, we got that. Looks perfect. So now what's the difference? Yeah, that's the difference. We are coming here for the bottom menu. Okay, so we are almost there. So now what actually we need to provide here is that that's our hr. Let's make something in the div portion. So let's put a class name which going to be max weight of Excel, or I'm gonna provide max width of 2xl. Okay, 2xl. Yeah, 2xl. Perfect. So now here what actually is that, that's the line which going to be make it as should be, it should work, and bj of gray of 700. Nope, it's not taking. If we remove, okay, looks perfect. So now what actually we're gonna do, for right now we no need to use that properties here. So what we're gonna do in the movie, in our particular page, if we are just removing that is vertical true, as you see, it gonna be getting our previous order. So looks perfect. So now what it will happen once we click on that view more. Okay, so in the view more, what actually it gonna happen, that we will ensure right now. So now it will get us a 404 event. So first thing first, let's go in our carousel banner. Not, it should be in the hero carousel. Yes, or in the movie container? Yeah, it's in the movie container. So I'm gonna remove all other parameter except that. So once we click on that particular movie path name, the view more, what actually it should be taking us, we need to generate a view more screen on that. So let's go here in the app, get a folder, should be view more, and that also it gonna take us back to that ID which actually we're gonna generate, or what we're gonna do, we'll just render it normally. So let's go with that base.tsx rafce. Remember, we are passing the title on that with the view more, so it will be view more page. Now remember what actually we are passing that view more, and in the query we're passing the title. So if we click in the view more, we should be able to render. You see the view more page and the title is coming as upcoming. So let's go back to the view more screen where actually we're gonna generate the other properties. So that's the page. So now what actually we're gonna get to get the value is actually in the search params, and in the search params we're gonna pass that as the title. So it will be that title, and the value is okay, let me get it again in a proper way. So the search param which going to contain the title and which going to get from the props. So now let's define the props interface, interface which going to be props, and in the props it will be search params which going to be getting the title which going to be string. You can put the console.log and you can get the title, but if also we can actually get that log, we will get the title. Let's see if we're getting the title or not. So what's the error we're getting? Okay, cannot read the property of title. What actually we are passing here in the search params. So let's go back again, hit the refresh, let's go view more. Okay, cannot read properties of title. Why? What's wrong with that? PARA, yes, that's what I miss. RA should be search params. Okay, now as you see, if we go back in the bottom, so it should be seeing the title here. So that's the title should be indicating. Now should be appearing here. Let's go and go view more. You see the title upcoming is available. Okay, that title is the view more upcoming. Okay, go back again and it will be the now playing. See the now playing, so the title is appearing here. So now we need to generate one function which actually giving us that all the parameters. So what actually we're gonna say, we're gonna pass the value which going to be let movies. So I'm gonna pass it any value. First I'm gonna keep it as null. So now what I'm gonna rendering here, I'm gonna rendering a simple if else condition. Okay, oops, like if the title is equal to now playing, then what it gonna be? So the movies is equal to, it will be await, and of course as we are making it await, it should be a sync function. So await, it should be get now playing movies. Okay, and then we need to get the other parameters, the other properties. So I'm gonna just pass that, and also I need to import that one, otherwise we'll get a big error. Already got, because I click the save button. Okay, so now once we are changing the value, so we are getting the title. If the now playing available, giving the now playing, getting the movie value as now playing. If the other parameter available, is just cross playing the movie value. So why actually we are doing that classification here? We are just going to put an h2 tag which going to be get that results of title. So in the title put a class name, text going to be 4XL, font going to be bold, and px going to be 10, MB should be 5. Okay, let's see if we are see the value. You see the results of now playing. So now in that div, put a class name, padding y should be 10. Here what we're gonna do, simply we're gonna pass that movie container, and here for the movies should be movies, and we're gonna make that is vertical available. So now you're gonna pass that movie. Okay, what actually is showing is vertical. Okay, should be true, maybe. Let's see, should be somewhere one way or either. Is vertical available movies.map. So that's the movies is vertical available. So the movies dot map. Okay, it's not finding the movie. Let's go back and view more. Yeah, it's just passing that value at the real time. So if the popular movie, if you go back, you see the best results of popular, and we're getting the popular movie. And if we're getting the now playing, we're getting the now playing value is not getting. I maybe make a mistake of that play should be, yeah, now playing. That's the mistake we are indicating. Okay, let's go back again and let's put the top rated movie. As you see, the movies are available. So now all the movies parameter available, the genre, the adventure of, now we will create the genre and create the search parameter. So let's go back in our header, not the header, so it will be in the genre page. So what actually going to be happening in the genre, we need to indicate that right now. So in the genre, remember we are passing that value, so we should get the value of that parameter. So let's go back to our header. Not in the header, we have that genre drop down. Remember what we are passing, genre ID and the genre name. We are passing that parameter. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it first as that a async function, as it's going to be coming up, and there I'm gonna pass that two parameter, which are going to be params, and inside that params I'm gonna get the ID, and also inside that search, SEARCH, search params, which going to be genre. So these two parameter we are going to be getting from the props, which actually going to be passing here. So let's go define the props. So it will be it will be interface props, and which going to be params, and inside the params we're gonna pass the ID, which going to be string, and then it will be that search params, which going to get that genre, which going to be also a string. So now we are getting that params value. So now we can actually render the movie. So it will be the const movies, it will be await get discover movies. Okay, so the movies is available. So now here, the first thing first, let's go in that to generate. So it will be the h2 tag. Oops, it will be an h2 tag, which going to be passed that results of 4, and we're gonna pass that genre. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, put a class name, going to be text of remember we are passing one value there, which for the viewmore text. So that's the same parameter I'm gonna provide here to just to see it perfectly. Okay, that would be the class name, and you see the results for adventure. So let's go in the top layer of that. Max width of screen should be Axel, MX auto, we can keep that, but right now what I'm gonna do, padding y of 10, the similarities I'm gonna keep behind. So if we go back here in the genre, let's put adventure, you see adventure movie is coming. So that's the same parameter I'm gonna keep. So here what I'm gonna do, MovieContainer, and here I'm gonna pass that movies as movies, and also the title, which going to be genre. Okay, so here I'm gonna putting a, so here I'm gonna giving the top layer of the value is coming with the results. So here it will be that similar value which is actually going to be pouring up, and I'm gonna make it as is vertical. Okay, so now you can modify the value. You can put it in like a lower level one, like put it in that Excel one things. So like if I'm going here, so like max width should be that Excel screen Excel. Sorry, it will be max width screen Excel MX Auto. Also it going to be combined with that properties, you see, is coming here. It depends on you what you prefer. If you want to prefer in that way, should be fine, you can do it, doesn't matter. So now we are getting the genre which actually for the action we selected. You see the adventure genre is available. Then if we put a documentary, and also the documentary is available, but we are not getting the value. The images is not changing because the movie is not changing. So we need to pass the ID to get the actual value. So now if we go back the genre, if we go to the comedy, you see the comedy and it's changed. And if you go back the fantasy, you see the fantasy. Okay, what's the value of fantasy? Oh, fantasy. Okay, fantasy. So now it's changing. Okay, let's go back there. So now one more thing is that search. If we put that do, we're getting that search page, but how actually we can redefine that? If we go in our search input, remember we are passing that with a values of input. So now we need to grab that value and pass the term to get our movies. So let's go back to the search page. That's the search. So here we will get the similar way, which actually going to pass the params and which going to be getting the terms. And also we're gonna pass the define interface the props. So it will be props and params, which going to be passing a term, and it will be a string. So now we are passing that param as a string. So now we need to decode the strings. As you see, it's coming with the doing that one. So we need to, like if we make the log, so log and making the log of term, you see that notation, because once we are putting this space, it's marking with that notation. So we need to remove that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make that const term to use, which going to make that decode, and we're gonna pass that term. So like if we make the log of that term to use, and now actually you can see, you see the do, the value is actually now generating in actual way. So now we can get our particular movie. So put that const movies, it should be await and then the get search movies, and here we're gonna pass the term to use, and of course as we put that await should be asynchronous way. And now as you see, the same value properties we use in the genre, so that's the genre, there's a similar value properties actually we can use. So we can just copy that value and I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so MovieContainer need to import it, and the results for it should be term to use. Okay, term to use. So let's hit the save and let's see what it will be. You see the search results for Dune. Now here we'll put the results for the rest. You see the results for the rest is coming. Now here we can do one more thing which actually going to be much more applicable. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that MovieContainer, one more MovieContainer, and we're gonna make, we'll not make that as the title. It should not be okay, the title should be MovieContainer. What's the title we're providing here? It should okay, it's getting the movies. Search movies. Okay, search movies. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get another movies which going to be const popular movies, should be await get popular movies, and here we're gonna pass that as popular movies, and it should be passing that you may also like. Okay, if we go bottom and bottom, and as you see, you may also like, if we click, it will take us with that. So the notation parameter should be available, we will provide later on, don't worry about it. So let's just hit reload page, let's see if it's working or not. Let's go back from there, and if we click on that view more page, yeah, our email like movies is reloading, and let's go back there. Now if we click on the genre documentary, okay, coming, if we search on that particular tab, working, and if we hit in the light mode, perfect, go to the stream, okay, cool. So now what we need to do, we need to do a major work, which actually providing that if we click and that image, that value we need to provide. So what we will do is that we will gonna create another parameter which actually going to get a single details page, okay, so which is going to be a movie details. So here we're gonna create another folder which going to be movie, and there it's going to get with the ID. So let's create a page here, page.tsx rafce, which going to be for that movie details. Okay, so now we need to implement that one. Remember, we have that movie card, so in that movie card, whenever we are passing on that, we need to pass that. So here I'm gonna create an on-click event which it's going to be handle route, and of course as we are doing that, we need to create that as use client, otherwise it will give us the error. So now what actually we're gonna do, const router, it should be use router, need to import from the next navigation, and here const handle route, and that handle route it gonna pass out to that router dot push, where actually it gonna push to movie, and then it's gonna pass the ID. Remember, we are having the movie, so we can actually prefetch the ID from there. So what I'm gonna do, movie dot ID, that's it. So now if we go here and let's go click in that doing part 1, where actually we're heading, click again. I think the first click didn't work, so yeah, it's second click is work actually. So first click, yeah, you see the movie details with particular ID, and we are landing it here. So now what actually we need to do is that we need to get several parameters. First we need to get the image of the movies, and then the other properties. So how actually we gonna do it, let's go back to our movie screen. So let's go here. First thing first, I'm gonna pass some of the data which are going to be in the top layer, and we need to import the metadata which going to make the title where actually you're heading. Let's click here, yeah. So now if we save, you see the movie streaming should be changing metadata Disney clone, just to show it how actually you can change the data variation. Let's go back again, let's click again. Okay, why is not changing? Metadata should change. Okay, we are putting again in the wrong place, should be cut from there, and I'm gonna remove other properties, close others, should be that one here. Yeah, that's why it's not showing. Okay, you see, now change, you can change that one in that way. So now what actually we're gonna do, we need to get some of the parameters. So here first we're gonna get the movies, so const movies should be wait, get movie videos, and also I'm gonna pass it as a asynchronous way, and in the movie videos we need to pass that ID. Okay, so that ID actually we need to extract the ID which actually we are passing, so that one should be from the params, and that params should be ID. We will pass the value as the props. So in the top layer, interface should be props, and in the props it should be params, and that one ID which going to be string. Okay, so now we are getting the ID. So now if we console log that one, so let's put a log, and now we're gonna get that movies data. So as you see, all the movies available data is coming here. So now as we are having the movies, so that's the video data. So now we need to pass that video data with a formulation of that, which going to provide of that. So that's the video movie ID. That video title should be available, so we can use that movie as that particular video properties. So in that way it will not see that movies should be in a perfect way to align on that. Okay, what's actually we are missing here, and also we need to generate another things which should be const details, going to be any value await get movie details. That's the parameters gonna give me the details, and that's the parameters give me the movie videos. Okay, so there's two things going to be provide all the parameters, and I'm gonna get another parameters which going to be const popular movies should be await get popular movies. So now I have all the parameters which actually going to provide me that details parameter, and that's like the Taylor parameters, and also that popular movie parameter. So all the things is on the place. So now let's generate that. So first thing first, let's in that here I'm gonna grab one div, and again another div, then one more div. So let's hit save. Now I'm gonna first pouring my image here. So get the image tag from the next image, and here what I'm gonna do in the source it should be get image path. We're going to be details dot, and it will be backdrop dot path. Okay, and alternative tag should be, now that details I put on any flag. You can like do it as your own, like if I remove the any flag it will hit me the error, but it will work perfectly. Okay, so that's I'm keeping up to you. Just try to put log the details and try to define all the props value, all the types value. It will be just simple as that one. So it will be details dot title, that's the alter tag should be providing, and with height, width and height I'm gonna provide the previous width and height which we are provided 1920. You can modify that one, I'm not modifying that. Okay, let's hit the save, and let's go back here. Let's see if we can see anything. As you see, because that one have no images available, if we go back that one, see no images found, that's why it's showing. I think I made a mistake of that. Should be backdrop drop backdrop path, yeah, should be available. Why is not getting that? Something is wrong. And for the details, get movie details. Okay, I didn't pass the ID, that's why it's not getting the details. Yeah, pass the ID, now it's appearing with the details. So let's put remember we are making a functioning there. I'm gonna just pasting there, so the object full and the similar parameters of that things to get. So right now it's showing us the all the images parameters. So what I'm gonna do, remember that one, I'm gonna put a class name on that. Put a class name, by default going to be with a full. LG should be what actually we can give that one here. Let's just think that one, because see that image coming in half and half. So LG width going to be 1/2, the half parameter, and mean height going to be 96 to show the image, rounded MD. Okay, and overflow hidden, I'm gonna make it as a group. Okay, hit save, and let's go back here. As you see, looks cool. So in the top layer, put a class name, that's the div. So I'm gonna make a padding in Y of 10, flex in the column portion, LG should be flex in the row, and then item center gap should be 5. As you see, it's gonna be rotating there, but it's not doing that because in the top layer, put a class name, padding x-axis going to be 10. Okay, now looks cool. Okay, that's the things is done. So we need to create the other properties. So that's the div. We will take another div here. So that's the div, and the similar class name I'm gonna put. So the class name, first it's going to be width of full, lg it's going to be width of 1/2, means the half width. Flex going to be flex call, and the gap should be 2. So now what I'm gonna render here, I'm gonna just get all the value properties except like all the values and status properties. That's the similar parameter which actually you can eradicate, but I can just going to explain how actually you are going to enable that one. You see the value is appearing. Now see what actually I have been done. Now here I'm getting the original title, so that's the title I'm getting, just putting a decoration which is coming with the underline, and then I'm putting that details overview which is coming with a little bit style of that small text. Then I'm passing that both average TMDB, then the both count I'm passing, that's the release date when it's actually is released. Then I'm getting the genre. So now in the genre is actually coming in as an array. Then I'm mapping the genre with giving that item.name. So you can see if the genre is a science fiction and adventure, both genre is actually appearing. Then I'm passing the tagline, which actually getting the details.tagline. So you can see the tagline here. So now I'm passing the status. What actually the status? If the details status is actually released, then I'm passing it as a green color. So whatever the status is available. If it's not, actually you can see if I just make it not equal to release, see it's getting it should getting the red color, you see. So that's the parameter I'm passing. Okay, so it's release is getting that other parameter. So now here, as you can see, these two, if we make a smaller screen, see the value is actually getting response. So now this is the parameter which actually going through that two value. So that's the overall picture on that. So here I'm gonna pass the another value which actually going to give me that other things, which will be video player.tsx rafce. Now here I'm gonna pass that video player, so it will be video player. Oops, it will be video player. Okay, so in the video player I'm gonna pass all the videos as videos. So let's go back to our video player. As you see, the player is available here. So in the video player, what I'm gonna do is that let's just get in a simple way. So let's pass the videos, which going to be passing that videos of the type. If I make that log, and you can see the videos parameter here. Now here I'm getting that ID, I'm getting that the key here. So to generate the actual video, what actually we're gonna do, we're gonna use that React YouTube. So you can just search here React YouTube, and now you can get that React YouTube, and I need to install that one. So using pnpm, just need to install. Okay, so it's going to install. After installing, you can read the documentation, see of the video for the getting the video. What actually you are doing, you're passing that ID, which is going to be a string value. That's the key value which actually you are getting. So now first thing first, let's go back here, and I'm gonna passing a text which is going to be h2 tag, and rendering here official videos from YouTube. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, official videos from YouTube. And now for that h1 tag, put a class name which going to be text going to be Excel, font going to be bold, and margin bottom should be 5. Okay, so that's the same thing which actually happening there. We're gonna creating right now. So now after that, I'm gonna passing a div, and inside the div I'm gonna mapping through videos dot map should be passing at item, or you can pass the video, or yeah, better to pass that as a parameter of video. Okay, so now here I'm gonna pass a div. Inside the div I'm gonna pass a p tag, which actually going to render that type, and not the type should be outside type. Okay, so after the type it will be item dot, not the item, should be video dot type, and after video dot type put a dash, and then I'm gonna passing that video dot official. So is it official or not? So if it's official is available, should be official, otherwise it will be general. Okay, so now let's go hit the road and let's see the type clip official fish like feature rated official. So let's now generate the actual value. So let's in the top layer class name, which going to be border, and that border gray of 600, and then rounded should be MD, width going to be full, overflow should be hidden. I'm gonna make it as relative. As you see, looks not good. So in top layer put a grid calls of 1, and MD grid calls of 2, and LG grid calls of 4, gap should be 10. Now looks good. So here after the p tag, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get that YouTube, sorry, it should be YouTube. Okay, now need to import that YouTube. So it will be import, actually I need two parameter from there. One is the YouTube, one is the YouTube props. So that's the two parameter I will use. So for the YouTube props, okay, first let's go back YouTube, and I'm gonna pass the video ID, which is going to be video.key. That's the ID we are passing, and also I need to give a key value. The key should be item.id, not the item, sorry, I'm just messing around. And then here title should be, or I don't want to pass any title. If I save, let's see what actually we are getting here. For right now, okay, extended null should be, because we need to make that one as a use client, otherwise it will just freak around. So use client, and now we should be able to see some of the videos. Okay, let's see, yeah, videos, but it's not, the style is not defined perfectly. So what actually we're gonna do here, we're gonna put that const over like on play video, on player ready. So that one should be the props of YouTube props, and that one going to be on ready. And here the value going to passing that event, it should be any event, and then I'm gonna passing that object event dot should be target dot post video. That will be for the on ready, and then we're gonna pass options, and in the options you're gonna pass the style. The height should be 300 pixel, and the width going to be 100%. Now these two value I need to pass in my player. So here on ready should be the function of on player ready, and then option should be the options. Okay, so now as you see that not looks idle, because instead of that column 4 I'm gonna make a column 3. Okay, so now it should be look idle. Okay, so now it looks better. So now what actually we gonna make, so I'm gonna change that one, so it will be movie studio clone. Okay, so now here if I click any of that player, you see now that's actually handling the problem. I don't need to handle anything. So one more thing I need to do is that to generate that particular popular category, and that is very simple. Remember, we already have been done that one pretty much most of the time. So after that particular div, I'm gonna get that movie container, and here in the movie container I'm gonna pass that movies should be the popular movies, and also for the title I'm gonna pass that popular movies, and then I'm gonna make that as is vertical true. So let's go hit back our parameter. You see that looks good, and here we need to just modify one thing, which going to be I'm gonna wrap that one with a div, and here in the top layer put a class name empty going to be 6. Okay, so now I think it's actually fulfill all the emotions as we have been done. You see that looks perfect. So if we go back with the genre, it's getting us to with the genre. If we click any of the movie, it's taking us to the single details screen. If we go back there, we can now what actually is happening. Okay, reading video player, just hit refresh. I think it should not be any of the problem. View more. Okay, cool. Go back here. Okay, looks so nice. Perfect. It's just getting okay, we need to work a bit on the video player screen. I think it's not giving us the properties it should be giving. Okay, that's the div. I think what actually I am missing here, that's the portion, yeah, in the top layer, which actually should be coming up with a little bit of padding and margin. Okay, where we did it here, we make it as relative, and the p tag, yeah, we didn't make that one perfectly. So class name text going to be a small text, font going to be medium, px going to be 6, and py going to be 3. So right now if you go back, okay, looks perfect, yeah. So now that looks cool. That's very, very cool. So if you are going to make that instantly, you see that's really happening perfectly. So now we have been done all other parameters, our application is running perfectly. So what we need to do, as always, I love to provide that code for you so you can do it later on. But first thing first, we're gonna first push that in our GitHub, then we're gonna connect the Vercel, then we're gonna deploy, and then I'm gonna also pass all the link available for the parameter. Okay, so let's go to my GitHub, where actually I'm gonna provide all the properties to you. So in my repositories, I'm going to open a new repository, which, and by the way, there is a lot of project which actually for free you can use if you want. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just remove that. I'm gonna make git init, and I'm gonna make that git at dot, so it will be git commit, should be initial commit. Oops, it's my bad, should not be that, should be similar. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open a new repository. That one would be that, what's the name I put here, movie studio YT. So I'm gonna just make that movie studio YT. Okay, now I'm gonna keep it as public, so you people can clone it and use it for your application. So here I'm gonna link my application here through the GitHub connect, and I want to run that another command to make it a main branch. And after that, I'm gonna pass my code here on that main branch, and also I'm gonna go in my Vercel, where actually I'm gonna upload it right now. So let's see. Okay, it's uploaded here. So okay, as you see, the code is available in my repo, so right now I can provide that code to you. Okay, in my Vercel dashboard, you first need to open an account in Vercel, only then you can access. So I will initialize a new project which is going to take that movie studio YT, which actually my current repo. So import that one, and from there I will just go directly in the deployment. So let's see. And by the way, because you are having that in your local directory, I think you don't need to access that TMDB API key where actually you are building in the Nextjs. So let's see if it's working or not. So it's just resolving all the issues and downloading everything. Just give it a time to access all the properties and make the things done. Okay, it's installing everything, and I think, yeah, environment also is getting the .env file. And there is one mistake which I have been done, passing you that .env file, which I should not. And by the way, I need to remove that one later on. I will do it, don't worry about it. The next push I'm gonna remove that. So it's statically generate every single thing and is now deploying the output, so we can actually get the value. Okay, I think it's almost done. Yeah, done. So we successfully, our application is deployed. So now, because my .env file is available, that's why I don't need to pass any environment variable. It's accessing that. So continue to dashboard, and let's go and hit the road. Movie Studio Vercel, Movie Studio YT Vercel.app. As you see, our application is running in live, and if you go now, actually we are running from the live studio. As you see, maybe it's gonna take a little bit time to render, but it's on live. So if we click, as you see, we will be able to see the live forecast. Okay, so the live trailer, live everything. So it's just getting the time for the loading and other parameter, but it's working perfectly. You can use some more parameter of the like the player and other properties in the adventure. Is taking the hits. Okay, looks perfect. Okay, let's get the movie. Okay, cool. So now our application is on live. So now also the search value, if we hit, it's working, and also our light theme, the system theme, everything working perfectly. So don't worry about that. The link, all the link, it will be available, and also the repo link, it will be available in the first on the description. And by the way, if you feel that video is really likable much for you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe my channel, which actually can be helpful in many ways. So I hope this can be helpful to create your own website, like on a streaming website, and I'll see you in the next video.